Hey guys, and welcome to our new bikes and gear video, how to cook when bicycle touring. We are recording this video in the middle of the Ecuadorian Andes at an altitude of about 4,200 meters above sea level. We are on our way to Chimborazo, which you can not really see behind me. This video is a follow-up and update to this video, so if you've seen that, some things might be a bit repetitive for you. But we recorded that video about a year ago, so in this time we've learned a lot and we want to share all that with you. So we're going to talk about our multi-fuel cooking setup, what we eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and how we store our food, and we're going to cook some nice dinner together.
Alright, so let's begin with talking about our multi-fuel cooking setup. Like always with our gear and setups, this is our personal opinion, our personal preference, and it may not be suitable for everyone. So let's take a look at our multi-fuel cooker. Our setup is actually a combination of several different brands and models. And we store it here in this front Ortlieb Sport Roller. The reason we have it in the front is we have quick access. We don't have to take off our rack packs or something from the back when cooking for lunch, for example, which we don't do a lot, but we might. And it's in a small bag because we usually cook with gasoline, and therefore our burner, our Optimus Polaris multi-fuel burner, always smells a little bit like gasoline, so we don't want to keep too much other stuff in here that might end up smelling like gasoline. Nevertheless, I usually take some food. Luisa carries most of the food and we'll get to that later, but I usually take some compact heavy stuff so she doesn't have so much weight. Rice in this case, which we're going to be cooking later. My cup, which we might also need later, and then amongst other rain gear and so on, where it doesn't matter if it smells like gasoline, we have our cooker. So at first you see this is a Tranger because we use the windshield and the pots and pans from Tranger, as you can see, and we have this just to keep this from getting too dinged up. But then when we open this up, we have a pan, the lid, which you can also use as a chopping board and as a sieve. We have our Optimus Polaris burner. So these are already two different brands. We actually have a product from a third brand, which is here, our Primus fuel bottle. This is a, what is it? No idea actually. It's so worn out. Our almost 600 milliliter fuel bottle, which when we use it with gasoline like we usually do, lasts us about a week of cooking, also with not just heating water but also making coffee, 2 pots and so on. So it does last quite a long time. Alright, so let's have a look. Here we have our burner, which we've wrapped in a Ziploc, so it just to keep the smell contained a bit of gasoline. And there we have the pump. Because this is a multi-fuel burner, you need to pressurize the gasoline so it comes out of the burner with this pump. And the actual burner itself. We will now show you without commentary just how we set this up. We put a little extra hole in the windshield of the Tranger windshield so as to accommodate our Optimus burner. And the reason we did this is because we really like the Tranger windshield because it's really windproof and contains the heat really well. It's more efficient. But we also really like this Optimus burner and not so much the burner from Tranger itself, which isn't actually rated for gasoline, last we checked at least. Because this can literally burn anything with the same needle. You don't have to switch out needles like you do with, for example, Primus burners, and yeah, so far this has worked so well. We do almost no maintenance on it and it's amazing. Before we get started, I can also say you can use this if you just fold out the legs as a normal, more compact burner as well, but we never really do that. We always use it with the Tranger windshield. Alright, let's have a look how we set it up. So one other reason why we chose the Optimus Polaris as our burner is because it fits absolutely perfectly into this hole of the Transit windshield, which is really great. And when putting the other part of the windshield on there and using the pan, which we do from time to time, you have a much greater distance between the flame and the pan than if you just were to put this on the original legs of the Optimus Polaris burner, meaning that the heat is spread out much more evenly and you have a much better use of your pan instead of just it being really hot in the center and cold everywhere else. The other things we still have in our little cooking setup is the grip for the pots and pan that comes with the Transit setup, and a lighter which we use and will use right now, and also for an emergency, which we've never actually had to use though, is just a little flint or fire starter. Alright, so let's get this started. The fuel bottle is pressurized, this valve is open, this valve is closed, and before it's really burning properly with the blue flame, we have to preheat it. Before we start, we have to make sure the air holes of the windshield are facing into the wind, so the wind is coming this way. And this windshield, when it's very windy, I kind of have here, so that it kind of blocks out the wind for the flame a bit. So, most fuel burner is different obviously, but for this one it works like this. We kind of put a little bit of gasoline in here, you can kind of see it like spraying up. Then we try to light it. Alright, so now it's preheating. And we did put a lot of gasoline in there because the air is super thin up here. There's hardly any oxygen. So the flame isn't so efficient. And once this starts to kind of die down, then we kind of start adding a bit more. And this is going to take a while because it's so cold as well. And now you can see it's a clear flame or a blue flame, and it's burning much more efficiently. Alright, and then we already prepared some rice. Just put that on there. Turn that up a bit more and pop the lid on. So as you can see, we put this bag here. This is actually our food bag as well, which we'll talk about in a second. Just to, especially when starting it and it's windy, to create some dead space so it's easier to start it. But now you can see it's having a hard time. So when it's burning, we take it away so it really gets all the oxygen that it needs.
So now that we've seen how to use the multi-fuel setup, I'm going to talk about what food we have with us and how we store it. So as Toby mentioned, this is the food bag. We actually recently got a new one. I have these in my front, although this is a rare pannier, but especially now for the next months in South America, we thought it might be good to have a bigger bag. So we have some basic stuff that we always, or try to always have with us. Well, let me get some stuff out so I can show you. Of course, we have our bowls. We had two folding bowls actually, but unfortunately one was ripped and the other one is opening up too, so not the best. You can see here. So basic food for cooking. We always have some spices with us. So this is just salt, chili, and spice for everything, kind of. Then heavy, but we like it. Some oil and soy sauce. Then, very important, my cup of coffee, instant coffee. It's just the easiest. Let's see, what else do we have in here? So we usually either cook noodles or rice. Right now we're cooking rice, but we also have noodles with us. That's actually the basic food we always try to have. And then every day we buy some fresh stuff. In here I have onions, bell pepper and some garlic. And that's actually what we're gonna cook today. For breakfast we usually have oatmeal. It's not that much left. But we have a combination of oatmeal, then some granola so it tastes better, and panela, which is like some sugar.
Brown sugar.
Yeah, brown sugar. And we put that just on top. And if we have warm water, we like to use that for our breakfast oatmeal. If not, we just use cold water. Apart from that, for lunch we usually just have snacks. Right now we have some a nut mix left, and this day, for example, for lunch we had some bread rolls from yesterday, some bananas and the nut mix. And that's actually right now everything we have in here. We have to go buy some more food. Also, for storage, we have a little backpack that we can fold really small, and always carry some bags for vegetables, or if you need a trash bag, you can use that. So now I'm gonna cut some vegetables we have one knife, which I store in here. So it doesn't rip everything. So one knife, one fork actually, we hardly ever use. And then 2 spoons, and that's all the cutlery we have. So in the upcoming months, the area is gonna be more remote, especially in the Andes, in Peru, and then later in Chile. So we probably will have to change our way of eating or cooking a bit. Right now it is possible to buy fresh vegetables every day or every second day, but we guess that won't be possible all the time, so we have a lot of space to just store dry stuff like noodles, rice and dry sauces, or maybe beans, lentils, more stuff like that. So we have to see how that's gonna develop in the next months.
In case you're wondering if we ever cook meat while on the road, no, we don't. We mostly cook vegan, sometimes vegetarian if we have some cheese or yogurt or so on. But even though we were strictly vegetarian for many years, both of us, since a few months we have started eating meat again, but only when it is offered to us, for example, or we want to try something very specific. For us, the cuisine of a country or region is a very big and important part of the culture of a region, and we sometimes felt like we were missing out when not trying certain dishes, especially when they were offered to us by locals, for example. So yeah, we have started eating meat again in certain situations. So thank you for watching. That was our how to cook when bicycle touring video, and we hope you learned something. Do you guys do it differently? We'd love to hear from you. As always, please leave it in the comments, and yeah, see you in the next video.
Yep.
And now we're gonna eat, because we're really hungry and it's really cold.
Mm-hmm.